The youngest of all 8 JoJo's, Giorno Giovanna also manages to be the most powerful. Except maybe Johnny. You should really read part 7. Giorno is undeniably awesome, conquering Passione and taking over as the Don in only a week's time. But just how strong is he? Haruno Shiobana was the illegitimate son of Dio Brando, conceived using the body of Jonathan Joestar. As such, he's technically both a Brando and a Joestar, and he even sports the Joestar birthmark on his shoulder. After moving to Italy with his neglectful mother, Haruno was renamed Giorno to reflect his new home. Unfortunately, his new father was physically abusive, and the fellow children often bullied him, which led Giorno to a life of solitude and loneliness. However, during a fateful walk one day, Giorno stumbled upon a man covered in blood lying in a patch of grass. When a group of gangsters questioned Giorno about the man's location, he lied to them, and the man was able to survive because of it. After that day, the mobster Giorno saved dedicated his time to improving Giorno's life. The abuse at home stopped, and his bullies left him alone. This being the first act of kindness shown towards him, Giorno decided to dedicate his own life to organized crime, the one true way to enact justice upon the world in his mind. He vowed to join the gang Passione, topple its leadership, and clean up the streets of Italy himself. At age 15, Giorno's stand gold experience began to manifest, strengthening his bond with his father Dio and transforming his hair blonde. Gifted with this new ability, Giorno joined forces with Bruno Bucciarati to take down La Squadra Execusioni and defeat the enigmatic boss of Passione, Diavolo. Giorno is a stand user, meaning the majority of his combat experience does not include traditional fisticuffs, instead replaced with intense tactical battles, making heavy use of his environment, acted out with his stand, or a corporeal manifestation of his own fighting spirit. Giorno seems to have a genius level of intellect, as he is always the first to understand the enemy's plan, or devise his own in the heat of battle. Giorno's stand, gold experience, is not as physically strong as Star Platinum or Crazy Diamond, but don't discount it. It is still far stronger and faster than any peak human. Gold experience's primary ability is to create life. This means that it can transform any inanimate object into living, biological material. A stone can be made into a frog, a chair into a hawk, a lamppost into a vine, and so on. The life forms that Giorno creates has multiple interesting features. First, the creatures will always follow his will, acting out his orders without question. He can create a snake and command it to bite you, or turn a book into a carrier pigeon that has its own message written inside. The second feature of these creatures is that any physical harm done to them will be returned to the attacker. By smacking Giorno's frog with a shovel, Leaky Eye Luca managed to cave in his own skull. As it turns out, gold experience also has multiple secondary abilities as well. If Giorno activates his stand on a being that is already alive, they enter a state of hyper-awareness, slowing down time from their perspective. Meanwhile, their body is frozen in shock, completely open to attack. Another ability is a unique application of life creation. While Giorno can make full living creatures, he can also create sections of a life form. A missing hand, eye, or part of a torso can be created from stone or wood and reattached to an injured person, allowing them to heal. Finally, Giorno can use golden experience to sense the presence and strength of other life forms, detecting vitality in his nearby vicinity, and assessing the physical and spiritual health of injured comrades. Now, if all of this wasn't impressive enough, Giorno actually becomes infinitely more powerful through the evolution of his stand into Gold Experience Requiem, or GER. When Gold Experience comes in contact with a stand arrow, the origin of stand abilities, it undergoes a transformation into something far more powerful. GER retains all of the abilities of the original Gold Experience, but also gains a new ability, Return to Zero. Return to Zero essentially nullifies the cause and effect of any action, returning it to its original state. If you were to shoot him with a gun, GER would simply return his wound to how it was before, and return the bullet back into its chamber. This effect nullification is incredibly broad in its application, and essentially allows Giorno to complete invulnerability from anything it perceives. Yes, it. GER acts without Giorno's conscious knowledge, so his own perception is not a requirement for the ability to be activated. Giorno's wide array of abilities and large variance in combat situations has given him a vast history of impressive feats with both gold experience and GER. In base, we've seen him destroy 10 cars in a single second with a flurry of punches, transform a bullet into a large tree as it flew through the air, and that tree was strong enough to hold the weight of a helicopter, or roughly 1 ton. Giorno has survived getting stabbed through the spine, replaced his own missing eye, portion of esophagus, and both of his own hands. Of course, this is all chump change compared to his abilities with GER. With the power of Requiem, GER was able to move freely in Diavolo's space, where time is non-existent. This either means that he has infinite speed, or fourth-dimensional power. Then, of course, he was able to unwrite Diavolo's skip time and his attack, removing the blood from his eyes and returning it to where it came from. Finally, most impressive and most brutal, Giorno landed a stand rush on Diavolo, which simultaneously killed him and returned his death to 0. Essentially, he trapped the boss in a never-ending loop of death, forced to suffer for all of eternity. How you interpret this is debatable. Either GER exists out of time, as stated previously, or its ability extends into the spiritual world, implying Giorno has astral offense and defense as well. To make this crystal clear, GER in a battle situation is either completely beyond the limitations of linear time, or infinitely fast and completely invulnerable to all forms of physical and spiritual attack. He's a monster. Now, he clearly can't return anything he wants to 0, otherwise I'm sure he would have revived his fellow members of Passione. But anything that hasn't had a substantial effect on the world yet is as good as gone in the eyes of GER. Put very simply, damn, this dude is strong. Don of Passione, born from the blood of both Joestar and Brando. Giorno Giovanna is truly a primo mafioso, the ultimate gangster. Who do you think would win in a fight? Giorno with GER, or Johnny Joestar with redacted? Let me know down in those comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, and consider supporting me on Patreon. Stay frosty.